After finally expanding the playoff from 4 to 12 teams, there are some rumblings that the college football playoff could be expanding again in the near future. And when I say the near future, I'm talking about 2026. Before we get to today's video, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications if you're new to my channel. If you're watching this video, odds are you love college football, and odds are you aren't subscribed to my channel. So make sure to subscribe to one of the best college football communities here on YouTube. College football definitely got things right by expanding the playoff from 4 to 12 teams. There were so many more teams that were in the mix in previous years, and there were so many more games that had massive playoff implications in the final month of the season. Well, we could see even more teams in the mix in the near future, as there are reports that the playoff field could expand to 14 teams. While speaking at the Sports Business Journal's Intercollegiate Athletics Forum this week, first off, that's an absolute mouthful, College Football Playoff Executive Director Rich Clark revealed that the commissioners are considering the addition of 2 more teams in 2026, but the outcome hinges on the results of this year's tournament. Here's the full clip of what he had to say.
Commissioners are going to look at it, right? They're going to step back. We're going to give them some options and some other things that they could do. But in the end, they're going to look at whether 14 is a better number. I'm sure they'll look at it. That doesn't mean that that's the foregone conclusion. But after they see the results of this season and this playoff, they're going to say, how can we make it even better? Not just better for the playoff, like I said, as a standalone event, but for all of college football and the regular season. And we'll make some good decisions on that, I'm sure. But we have to see how this playoff goes and then do a really analytical look at it and go, how can we get better? And I know 14 will be one of the options. Staying at 12 will be one of the options. And then there's probably some other options in between or maybe on the periphery of that. But we're going to look at everything and see what can we do to make it better.
Now, I'm all for playoff expansion. I would be fine going to 14 teams. I would be fine going to 16 teams. Hell, I'd be fine adapting the FCS format and going to 24 teams at some point in the near future. But for right now, we finally made the jump from 4 to 12 teams. At least give this 4 or 5 years to breathe, and let's see how this 12-team format at least looks. Now, if the college football playoff were to expand to 14 teams, I'm guessing only 2 teams would be getting the first round bye. I don't know if there's another scenario or another bracket that they would go down, but that's how I'm guessing things would look. And honestly, I wouldn't hate that. I get having the 4 byes for your conference winners, but as I've said in previous videos, having teams like Arizona State and Boise State getting a first round bye, yeah, I don't think those kind of teams are deserving, and I wouldn't be upset if they gave the top 2 teams a first round bye instead. Now, obviously, if we made the move to 14 teams, there would still be a lot of controversy surrounding who the final teams in would be. If we would have had the 14-team format this season, Alabama and Miami would have gotten the final 2 spots, where Ole Miss and South Carolina would have been the first 2 teams out. And in that scenario, there would have been a lot of people arguing that Ole Miss and South Carolina were deserving and they should have gotten in over Alabama and Miami. I mean, we could expand to the 24-team format that the FCS uses, and there would still be a lot of teams that would be getting the shaft, and there would be a lot of controversy and a lot of arguments going down. So unless you're expanding it to include every FBS team, there's always going to be controversy. Now, as I've said in previous videos, I'm all for having more teams and giving more teams an opportunity. Of course, at some point we would have to draw the line, but I have no issue with the 14-team playoff. Adding Alabama and Miami to the playoff field this year would have been huge, and I wouldn't have been surprised if either one of those teams would have gone on a run and made a push at winning the national championship. By adding 2 more spots, it also allows even more teams to still be alive by the end of the season, adding even more importance to every game. Every week during the college football season, I was posting videos talking about the number of teams that were still alive in the playoff hunt. As we entered November, I think there were still like 35 to 40 teams who were mathematically still in the hunt. Well, if you add 2 more playoff spots, that number's going to slowly increase as well. So by the final weeks of the season, you're still going to have 25 or so teams that still have a chance of reaching the college football playoff. And for those 25 teams, every game in November is going to mean that much more, which is better for college football and especially for college football fans. Now, if you were to expand from 12 to 14 teams, you're not even having to add an extra round of games that you play. The most games a team would have to play would be 4, which is the same that they would have to play in the 12-team format. Now, in this scenario, I'm not exactly certain how the rankings would work, work, at least with how it's currently set up. Arizona State, Boise State, those teams get the bye, and they're technically the number 3 and the number 4 seed. Well, let's say only the top 2 seeds had a bye. Would Arizona State, for winning the Big 12, would they still make the jump all the way up to number 4? Would Boise State, after winning the Mountain West, still make the jump up to number 3? Because in that scenario, they're not getting a first round bye, so they're not really benefiting at all from winning their conference championship. In this scenario, would you just go away with those entirely? Now, I've said this in previous videos. Me personally, I think if you win your conference, you should just get an automatic bid. The top 4 seeds that get byes, those should just be who the top 4 teams are in college football. But I kind of get wanting to reward winning your conference, because what if you lose in your conference title game, but you still get a bye? But yeah, in this 14 team scenario, I'm not exactly certain how that would work. Again, would you still reward a team by having them as the number 3 seed? I guess in that scenario, they would be playing the number 16 seed. So if you do win your conference, while you're not getting a bye, you are being rewarded by playing the lower seed and a worse team. So maybe that's something that the College Football Playoff Committee would opt for. You could still be the number 3 or 4 seed by winning your conference, but you lose that bye. But by doing so, you do get to play the lowest seed. This is something that I'm sure the College Football Playoff Committee could figure out down the road, but this is something we definitely need to keep our eyes on, because I think the playoff committee, with all the backlash they got by keeping out Alabama, they definitely want to add a couple more teams. And I'm fairly certain ESPN wouldn't mind that as well, because that just means more games, and by playing more games, that means more money. But for the meantime, let's at least give this 12-team format at least 3 to 4 years, see how this goes. If we get 5 years from right now and it's clear and obvious that we need to expand by a couple of teams because a number of teams are still getting the shaft, by all means expand to 14 and give us more college football. But for right now, keep it at 12, because after a decade of begging, we finally made the jump from 4 to 12. Let's not get greedy, let's not continue to expand, let's see how things play out. But like I said, I would be so down for a 14-team playoff. It means 2 more teams get in, it means more teams are in the hunt, and it means more games are more important by the time November rolls around, which as college football fans, that's all we can ask for. So what are your thoughts on the potential change to the college football playoff format? Are you fine with the current format of it being 12 teams, or would you like to see it expand to 14 teams so 2 more teams could get in? Also, if this were to happen, how would you work the seeding? Would you still reward conference champions by giving them the higher seed, or in this scenario, would you just rank them where they're ranked and the seeding is based on how the actual college football playoff rankings are? Whatever your thoughts are on the format changing and what you would do, let me know in the comment section down below. Before you leave, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications if you're new to my channel. I'm posting college football videos all off season long, so make sure to subscribe so you never miss a video. Also, don't forget to drop a like on this video as well. It helps out with that YouTube algorithm, and it helps share this video and my channel with more college football fans. Plus, it only takes a second to do. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I'll see you all in my next video.